Shoulder to Shoulder. Thanks for being a part of Shoulder to Shoulder and for participating in our brigades. As part of your participation, it's important for you to become completely familiar with our safety procedures and protocols. Effective in January, we had to postpone and to suspend our brigade activities until March 1st. During that time period, we've developed several new policies to help your experience be safer and also to help us better fulfill our mission for years to come. The safety video is designed for anybody who's traveling with Shoulder to Shoulder for any purpose. This includes staff, brigade leaders, board members, members of the community, and all of our guests. These policies are effective immediately and will be implemented, as I said, as we resume our brigade activities effective March 1, 2012. Now, there are two overarching principles driving Shoulder to Shoulder's safety policies. Number one, Shoulder to Shoulder's mission is to serve the poor. Shoulder to Shoulder's safety policy is dependent on that mission, and our mission is dependent on our safety. So, when speaking about safety, with anyone you come into contact with, remember the number one rule. It's not just about you. Safety is about our mission. It's important for us to keep that track record of having a safe record as we work in the frontier, because significant problems with safety puts our mission at risk and jeopardizes our ability to provide services to over 50,000 people in Honduras. Second big point, Shoulder to Shoulder now has a zero tolerance for unnecessary or avoidable risks. Now, things are going to come up in this video, and things are going to come up that are not covered in this video, where you're going to have to make a call. Bottom line is, ask yourself whether the assumption of any particular risk is vital to the mission of Shoulder to Shoulder. And if it's not vital, it's a no-brainer. Don't assume the risk. If it's vital to the mission, see if there's a way that that risk might be minimized and that the safety of our other brigade members and you might be enhanced. If you can figure out a way to make something safer, just do it. Travel restrictions are an important part of our new safety procedures. Some parts of the world, some parts of Honduras are more dangerous than the other. This is something that you need to be completely cognizant of at all times. So, we've made some overreaching concerns as it relates to travel. First, all travel to Honduras will be going through Tegucigalpa. No travel whatsoever will be permitted to San Pedro Sula for any brigade operation that's operating out of that region. All incoming flights must arrive no later than 1:30 p.m. Now, this is necessary because we have a policy that prohibits night travel. The decision to fly in Tegucigalpa is based on the proximity of the police department to the airport, the proximity of the airport to the United States Embassy, and the lower incidence of crime in the Tegucigalpa area as compared to the San Pedro Sula area. Risks associated with air travel in and out of Tegucigalpa are minor compared to the other surrounding risks that are inherent in the San Pedro Sula area. The second thing that's important with respect to travel is that all brigades departing Honduras will also depart from Tegucigalpa. Now, brigades will stay their last night at the Hotel Maya, and the Maya, although more expensive, has been selected because of its enhanced security procedures, protocols, and barriers, as well as the other accommodations that are at that facility, which make it, quite frankly, nice to be there. And as a result, folks can stay on the campus at the Maya without having to leave that secured area for any reason whatsoever. The third thing to keep in mind about travel is that there are no longer special accommodations for folks who need to come early or stay late. Early departures and arrivals that are not planned for in advance of a brigade simply present avoidable risks that threatens our mission and are no longer, unfortunately, something that we can provide. Now, another key element of our safety program involves registration of all travel. In addition to following these policies, it's important that everyone traveling with Shoulder to Shoulder register their travel with our brigade coordinator, Sharon Mullen. Sharon inputs this valuable information, which is then used to activate several of our systems. For example, Each person who's registered then becomes registered with the United States State Department as an individual who's traveling to Honduras. Additionally, each person who is traveling to Honduras with us is added to our medical and evacuation insurance policies. These policies and this registration triggers our system to make sure that all travelers are greeted at the airport and that we'll have sufficient capacity to transport and to take care of your needs when you're with us. This is really important. So as a result, even if you book your own travel, even if you pay for your own travel, even if you make your own airlines and think you've got all this all worked out and you don't need any help, bottom line, to work with us, you do, because we want to have you in our system to provide the safest experience for you and the safest experience for all of us, since safety is everybody's business, and since since our mission is dependent on safety. Well, another thing that we've implemented is the concept of an on-duty officer. The on-duty officer function of shoulder-to-shoulder rotates among senior staff, and each senior staff member who's acting as the on-duty officer carries the on-duty officer's cell phone, and that person has committed to answering that cell phone 24 hours a day. The on-duty officer has additional information, additional protocols that can be very helpful to coordinate emergency situation. And a card with important telephone numbers, including the telephone number for the on-duty officer, will be given to you before you begin your brigade in Honduras. There'll be other numbers that you can have even in the event that that on-duty officer does not pick up the phone, because we always want to have backup systems and redundancy. But the on-duty officer is a number which you should keep in mind. Additionally, we have another function, and that's the brigade safety officer. Now, as a brigade member, it's going to be your job to work with your brigade leader and the brigade safety officer. You'll be working with that person during the trip, and the brigade safety officer has the responsibility to maintain a current listing of the whereabouts of all members on the brigade. So, communication between the brigade leader and the brigade safety officer must be made during all excursions. The names, the whereabouts, the estimated times of arrival must be communicated with the brigade safety officer. Now, when an excursion arrives safely at its destination, the brigade safety officer will notify you or your designate of the safe arrival. And the same procedure has to be followed when the excursion departs and it's on from that remote site back to the home base. You and your safety officers will be issued Honduran cell phones for use during your brigade. Now, there won't be one cell phone for everybody, but as a part of your group, you will be instructed as to who has the telephone and how to get to that telephone to make calls. That telephone will also have pre-programmed numbers in it so that you can reach out and get help from folks who are working with you in the frontier at all times. I need to talk just a moment about driving while in Honduras. No shoulder-to-shoulder U.S. staff, that would be me, or U.S. volunteer, that would be me, or if you're a volunteer or if you're a staff, that would be you, is permitted to drive a shoulder-to-shoulder vehicle outside the frontier without a Honduran driver's license. Now, additionally, you should know that even while driving a Honduran rental car, you may be subject to some mandatory laws in Honduras anytime there's a personal injury event. And sometimes this can even involve incarceration while they work things out. So, unfortunately, this is something that you need to be aware of if you're in a situation where you might contemplate operating a rent-a vehicle. So as a result, if you're not willing to assume the risk that you might run into with respect to these additional concerns, you should not drive a vehicle while in Honduras. Okay, well, what about the national and regional statistics regarding violent crimes that we've heard about so much in the news? Well, unfortunately, San Pedro Sula has recently been declared as the most violent city in the world. Now, as always, statistics can be utilized in many different ways and for many different reasons. On the other hand, sometimes they're helpful to help us put different things into perspective. For example, The homicide rate in the Department of Integruca, where we're working, is around 30 per 100,000 per year. Now, similar data for cities in the United States include New Orleans, Louisiana, that has 49 per 100,000, St. Louis, Missouri at 40, Baltimore at 34, Detroit 32, Washington 21, Cincinnati 20, Cleveland 19. The crime rate in Tegucigalpa is about twice that of New Orleans, or it's about 100 per 100,000, and the crime rates in San Pedro Sula are over 3 times the risk in New Orleans, are up in the 150 per 100,000 range. So it's also important to note that trips to El Salvador, Guatemala, and other areas in this particular region in the Northern Triangle are not a lot safer, where rates in El Salvador, although not part of the Northern Triangle, is around 66 per 100,000, and Guatemala is around 41. So, in response to these staggering numbers, however you look at it, Shoulder to Shoulder safety policy is designed to keep our volunteers out of those hot spots to the extent we can. And they're designed to minimize the time that's spent in the large cities, such as Tegucigalpa, minimize the time spent in large cities, such as San Pedro Sula, and by transporting our volunteers directly away from the airport to remote sites where crime, although it's significant, is not significantly worse than many areas of the United States. I want to talk a little bit about police escorts, as that's an area that sometimes people might ask you about. Shoulder to Shoulder is consulted with experts as to whether it's preferable to have armed escorts inside vehicles, and has also evaluated the procedure of having escorts in front of shoulder-to-shoulder vehicles. Now, based upon the experts that we've consulted with, we've made the decision that shoulder-to-shoulder will not be traveling with security forces as a general practice. Although police escorts may deter certain types of crime, unfortunately, they've really not been found to be effective toward all types of crime, and in certain cases have been found to draw unnecessary and unwanted attention. Accordingly, police escorts will not be routinely used. Another thing I want to talk about is how to respond in the event you are subject to a robbery. You should know, and you should train those others that are working with you, that in the event they're subject to a robbery, which is unlikely but could occur, you are instructed to give away your valuables. Simply give them your wallet, give them your cell phone, give them whatever else you may have. Your life is worth far more than your valuables. Make sure that you know, and that the people who are also working with you know, that generally speaking, robberies for money and cell phones do not generally result in any type of violence whatsoever unless somebody puts up a resistance. Somebody tries to pull a John Wayne maneuver, and when something like that happens, unfortunately, the recent events that we've learned is that innocent people get hurt in that crossfire. So we want to keep resistance at a complete minimum. We need to talk about compliance with these brigade policies, because we know not everybody is able to comply with all of the policies. But Shoulder to Shoulder staff in Honduras, the brigade coordinators in Honduras, even the brigade assistants are authorized to enforce these safety policies. All Shoulder to Shoulder board members, staff, and anyone traveling with us are required to follow their direction if a matter involves a Shoulder to Shoulder safety policy or an interpretation of that policy. So, in the past, a trip involving moderate amounts of alcohol that might have been tolerated, and folks might have looked the other way, is unfortunately no longer something that we can tolerate, as it presents avoidable risks, which also presents public relations image and a safety risk that can no longer be accepted. Well, as I stated earlier, Shoulder to Shoulder has operated in the frontier for 22 years without a serious physical injury or incident. These policies are designed in consultations with individuals at the United States State Department, Chief of Police's in La Esperanza, Concepcion, judges, the Justice of Peace in Concepcion, and several leading experts in security. Compliance with these policies is not optional. Failure to follow these policies will result in the loss of privileges to provide services for shoulder to shoulder. As a brigade member, a leader, a staff person, a board member, you and I are subject and we're authorized to enforce these policies. The names of individuals who are unable to comply with these policies should be forwarded to our Executive Director, Emily Harrison, and to our Brigade Coordinator, Sharon Mullen, who will keep a record of the individuals who are no longer eligible, unfortunately, to participate in shoulder-to-shoulder activities. As Board President, I want to back up a little bit, and first of all, just thank you for participating with us. I want to thank you for helping us achieve our mission of demonstrably reducing poverty in a material way. I want to thank you for your service to the Corps. I want to thank you for your dedication to the mission and your dedication to safety. I also want to thank you for taking the lead in reducing poverty and taking the lead in ensuring that we can continue to provide the services that we do as a result of having a zero tolerance for unnecessary risk. Remember, safety is not just about you, it is not just about me, it's about the mission. Thank you.
There are 4 broad categories of safety and security events that can occur regardless of whether you're home or whether you're on a shoulder-to-shoulder mission brigade. These include natural disasters. Natural disasters in Honduras are very unlikely, but they could include things like hurricanes, floodings, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or forest fires. Other types of emergencies could involve civil disturbances. These too are very unlikely, but they can result from economic, political, and social conflicts that can turn violent. Volunteer personal emergencies are another category that can occur. These could include things like assaults, accidents, theft, or other crimes against you personally. Finally, emergencies could involve things involving your family or friends. While you're in Honduras, situations can occur in your personal circle of family and friends at home or here where it's important for us to be able to notify you and to keep you informed of these developments. The following information will help you understand how our safety and security policies work, the importance of our emergency action plan, and what you can do to minimize your risk, and by doing so, increase shoulder-to-shoulder's ability to continue to sustain its mission for years to come. Thanks.
Hey folks, I'm Marvin. I'm from Honduras. I can't wait to see you. Come to Honduras. Honduras is safe. Welcome. Welcome here. We are waiting for you.
My name is Susan Yates, and I'm the Director of Women's Health for Shoulder to Shoulder. Today, I'm going to talk about the basics of the Emergency Action Plan. Number 1, inform your brigade leader or your assistant brigade coordinator whenever leaving the clinic or your daily activity site. Tell them how long you plan to be gone, where you will be going, and with whom you will be going. You must go with at least one other person and make sure you don't go out at night. If possible, utilize one of the cell phones issued to the brigade and bring that phone with you, including contact numbers for your brigade leaders and assistant brigade coordinators. Remember that we must be able to contact you very quickly in case of an emergency or change of plans. Number 2, for brigade leaders, contact the Honduran Brigade Coordinator if you are in an emergency situation. Memorize or have written the phone number 9890-1512. If you are unable to reach the Brigade Coordinator, contact the Director of Human Resources at 94630339 or any shoulder-to-shoulder staff member, no matter what time of day it is. Number 3, be careful about revealing personal or contact information about you or any other volunteer to anyone other than those in your brigade and shoulder-to-shoulder staff. Volunteers could be subject to theft or harassment if people learn where volunteers are staying or that they have expensive personal items. Information shared on the internet can make people targets for scams or identity theft. Strict compliance with the shoulder-to-shoulder computer and internet policy is also required. Use of Facebook, transmission of video and transfer of large computer files is prohibited. Following these guidelines, ensure the network remains online for safety communication and patient care. Please review the shoulder-to-shoulder computer and internet policy. Number 4, being respectful of the communities you are visiting and having self-awareness help you to minimize safety risks. Work to improve your Spanish and to understand local cultural norms and local attitudes about gender relations. Be aware of the signals you personally project. Do not walk around looking lost, clueless, or vulnerable. Remember that preparedness is the best strategy for ensuring personal safety. Proper dress also helps to minimize safety risk and unwanted attention. Proper dress includes shirts, such as this, with short or long sleeve shirts, pants, capri, or skirts below the knees, and closed-toed shoes. But do not wear shorts, low-cut tops, or any camouflage. Number 5, identify high-risk situations and avoid them. If you find yourself in a potentially dangerous situation, keep in mind the following ways to react. Release. If you are the target of a robbery, give them your personal possessions. Your life is far more valuable than your money, cell phone, or other items you may be carrying. Make a scene. Yell, scream, be vocal about your need for help, and escape. Get away as quickly as you can. Number 6, no shoulder-to-shoulder brigade volunteer is permitted to take public transportation within Honduras at any time for business or personal purposes. Shoulder-to-shoulder will provide all your transportation while participating in a brigade. You may not hitchhike or accept a ride from anyone. For any special circumstances, the brigade coordinator must approve your travel plans. And number 7, no alcohol may be consumed in the frontier. Santa Lucia is a dry municipality where alcohol is not legally sold. In Concepcion, there is no dry law, but brigade members may not purchase or consume any alcohol. Alcohol use is frowned on upon the frontier culture. This has a lot to do with people's religious beliefs. Social drinking is not practiced. People who drink here are alcoholics and drink very excessively. No one has a beer with dinner or wine at any time. If you drink, you consistently drink unhealthfully and are known as a bolo. Drunken people, which are almost exclusively men, are a familiar sight on the weekends, often passed out on the side of the road or stumbling home. Although no alcohol may be consumed in the frontier, moderate alcohol use is permitted outside of the frontier. Number 8, never let your guard down. Always be alert to dangers and risks. Know what is going on in the immediate environment. Establish personal boundaries and act to protect them. Alert body language and confident attitudes are important components to enhance vigilance. Next, we're going to talk about transportation safety measures. Each brigade will use a variety of transportation methods during their trip in Honduras. Roads can be in poor condition and many excursions are in very rural areas. Therefore, extra precaution and preparedness is necessary to ensure safe travel within Honduras. All shoulder-to-shoulder vehicles and rented vehicles are required to carry GPS, a cell phone, flashlight, jumper cables, first aid kit, spare tire, car jack, and a gallon of water. When a brigade is traveling in any other transport, such as a charter bus, it must carry GPS, cell phone, flashlight, as well as a first aid kit.
Okay? Hey, here I am again. I am Marvin. I'm waiting for you. Welcome to Honduras. Honduras is waiting for you.
A volunteer brigade assistant, and I'm going to talk to you about reporting a safety and security incident and sexual assault. If you experience an incident that threatens your personal safety, you must report the incident to your brigade leader and the Honduran brigade coordinator. Memorize these phone numbers that will be provided for you and enter it into your cell phone. You'll be asked to fill out an incident report describing the incident. Sexual assault is a real and serious risk that can happen to anyone in Honduras, just as it can worldwide. To minimize risks, women especially should never be alone on the street or out after dark. Be careful about cultural differences in gender relations. What you perceive as mere friendliness can be misinterpreted as a sexual invitation. Socialize with a group, avoid alcohol consumption, and be vigilant about preventing drugs from being added to your drink. When an incident does occur, our immediate concern is your well-being, not whether you are following shoulder-to-shoulder protocols when the assault occurred. Do not let your fear of possible administrative consequences stop you from reporting an assault and letting us provide the medical and emotional assistance you need. If you are assaulted, immediately get in touch with your brigade leader and director of human resources. You may also choose to receive confidential medical attention. If you are sexually assaulted, first get to a safe place as quick as possible where you're with someone you trust. Next, report the assault immediately to the director of human resources or brigade leader and a shoulder-to-shoulder physician. Do not go to the local authorities without accompaniment. And finally, in the case of rape, wait until you have received guidance from your brigade leader and a shoulder-to-shoulder physician before you shower, bathe, defecate, clean your fingernails, wash the clothes you are wearing, or change the sheets. Such actions can destroy evidence that will be needed if you choose to prosecute. Legal action and evidence collection will occur only if you consent. Theft and robbery. Theft and robbery are common in Honduras. Be aware of pickpockets, especially in crowded areas such as markets. Always take precautions such as carrying small amounts of money and keeping your money separate from documents such as your passport. Make a habit of knowing who is around you. In crowded areas or walking along streets, try to notice anything suspicious and move away from that area if possible. Avoid crowds, large gatherings, and demonstrations. Do not walk alone at night and avoid deserted areas. Be careful when using an ATM to withdraw money. It is a good idea to use ATM machines inside supermarkets or other indoor areas where there are lots of people. Do not withdraw money at night, and do not flaunt valuables or leave them in the open.
Hello, my name is Brian Marsalis, and I'm the Director of Human Resources, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about the Emergency Action Plan that Shoulder to Shoulder has. Our Emergency Action Plan enables us to address large-scale security concerns such as natural disasters, civil unrest, and other significant events that puts volunteers at risk. Our ability to respond effectively to emergency situations is highly dependent on knowing your whereabouts and being able to get information to you quickly. The Shoulder to Shoulder Emergency Action Plan involves several steps. First, the whereabouts of all volunteers must be determined. Next, all volunteers must report back to the clinic or other designated safe space. Once all volunteers are accounted for, Shoulder to Shoulder staff will determine if it is safe to stay at the clinic, and if not, will formulate an evacuation plan. In the event that the Emergency Action Plan is activated, the Director of Human Resources shall provide notification to the respective area managers. The area managers will notify the director or coordinator of all departments based out of the area. Each director or coordinator will be responsible to contact all of their employees. If the people you must notify cannot be contacted, you must notify the next group of people in the chain of command. Here are several additional emergency contacts. The American Embassy, Marvin Cacho, Brigade Coordinator, and you will get to know him. Me, Brian Marsalis, Director of Human Resources. Janelle McBride, a lady with a lovely personality, Coordinator of Health Network. Daniel Vallejo, another great guy, Director of Operations. And Walter Cardona, the Area Manager for Concepcion. Cheque Leque, you'll have to ask him. Veronica Hernandez, the Area Manager for Santa Lucia. Also another lovely lady. You will all get to meet them. It is important to note and stress that these numbers will be provided upon your arrival and that you should keep them with you at all times with your passport. Thank you.
Hi, this is Wayne Wade again. It's important to put all of our safety procedures and protocols into perspective.
For 22 years, Shoulder to Shoulder has operated in the frontier without any serious safety incident, without any serious safety injury. It's our goal to keep it that way. And it's our thought that by discussing these events, no matter how remote they may be, we're going to be able to be best positioned to fulfill our mission for years to come. The policies that you've just been exposed to have been developed based upon evidence obtained from the police department in Concepcion, meetings with the chief of police in La Esperanza, as well as meetings with the United States State Department and the Director of Security for the United States Embassy in Tegucigalpa. We believe that these are a part of the best demonstrated practices of other NGOs facilitating the type of work that we do. They're heavily based upon Peace Corps protocols and procedures, and we are very grateful to the Peace Corps for assistance in helping us as we have developed these plans for your safety.
Okay, I'm from Honduras. I'm here, safe, you know. Come here. Honduras is waiting for you. Welcome.